This is a certified true copy of my live statement of birth. You can get this by applying for it at the Registrar General. They'll give it to you. And it's very interesting because this is where it all began. This is the foundation document. All identification is generated from this document. And so if the foundation document is no good, anything that's made from it is no good. That means driver's licenses, health cards, everything. Now what they did here, this is exactly what he meant when he said, soon every American will be required to register their biological property. Now your parents didn't realize what they were doing when they filled this out, and these didn't exist before 1933. Birth records were recorded in scripture, and these only came into being in 1933 when they hatched this plan. They created a corporate fiction with a name just like yours. In doing this, they registered and monetized the spirit and soul of a living being. This denotes ownership. And when your parents were tricked into filling this out, they allowed your spirit and your soul to be monetized. And futures were sold on you.
Spirit and soul.
Now, this is my birth certificate. This is actually a share. See this red number? This A, I'm born in Canada, this is a Class A share. Now, this is called a CUSIP number, and all securities require a CUSIP number, and that's what this is. And you are held as collateral to secure the debt, which our government owes to international bankers. So you and me and all these people here are actually collateral, and we don't even own our lives. We are chattel, and we believe we're free. I made an application to the Registrar General, and I got my original social insurance application. Now, before they sent it to me, they put a little piece of paper over this before they photocopied it, because my friend has his, and they didn't block this out, and when you hold it up, you see Bank of Canada. It is said that the best slaves are the ones who don't know that they're enslaved, and we all have invisible chains on us, and we don't know it.
These debts are putting our children into debt for all eternity, and there is blood on these debts, and they are causing more fraud and more debt to the country. How you pay for anything is with promissory notes. We have the power to make money. What we have done is we have deferred this to the banks, i.e. one bank, the Reserve Bank. The Reserve Bank has no reserves. It's not a bank. It is a fraudulent corporation operating in this country. How you pay is you discharge against your bond. Your birth certificate is a bond. You have more value in here than any fine that they can give you in any court under the sun. This is your value. It's your life. They stole this from you. When you were born, you were issued one of these. This is a birth certificate. It should be called a death certificate. I feel that I'm committing fraud by doing it anyway, because I shouldn't be cooperating at all with this filthy, dirty commercial system. You and I have been monetised, brother. You have been monetised through that instrument. You are money in the eyes of banksters. You know the banks pay $6 million for these from the hospitals, and you know how much they get turned around? These are securities on the stock market. You're making $6 billion by the time you retire for the Rothschilds, mate. They've got plenty of gold taps and champagne and caviar and cigars in their mansions, while a good portion of humanity are starving to death. That we stop using Reserve Bank notes. Every time you go and pay your utilities, you are compounding the national debt. Do you realise that? I don't think you realise that. You think, you're kind of laughing at me, thinking, oh, this guy's a nut. No, I'm not. Yeah. All dear Australians and all dear people who really do wish to be free, please remember your birth certificate is a bond. There's the number. There's bond numbers all over here. CUSIP numbers, bank numbers. You've been monetised, you've been enslaved by the birth certificate. It is a death certificate. Please go to the registry and get yourself, acquire a live birth record, because that will bring you out of their jurisdiction, into the land of the living, out of their ship their citizenship, because this is a ship of Admiralty law. And when you go into here, you are in their waters, and you may never safely return, because this ensures that you are dead on the waters. Why it is a citizenship, whereas this is the living document. And when you go into court or anywhere like that, and you bring that into you, that notifies those dead entities that you are living, that you are a man or a woman, not a person. This is a person, this is a man.
I want to thank you all for coming down here today. I hope it's not too hot. You can always turn the thermostat down a couple thousand degrees if anyone gets uncomfortable. It's kale flavor. It's my favorite. As you all know, the team and I suffered a big defeat this week with the overturn of Roe v. Wade. We went out there. We gave it our all with fantastic offensive game, but ultimately the good guys and Justice Roberts came in clutch. Played a better game. So let's take some questions. You there with the teeth.
Satan, it seemed like you had it in the bag with Roe on lockdown for 50 years. What went wrong out there?
Yeah. Thank you for the question. Yeah, we got to look on the bright side here. We put up some incredible numbers. Over 60 million PBAs. That's preborn babies aborted for the layperson. It's an absolute world record. Yeah, I can't take all the credit though. This is a team sport, and you got an incredible team. You know, got Planned Parenthood, Moloch, Nancy Pelosi. They all made this possible. It didn't go the way that we wanted this time, but in the end, we still have a championship team of demons, devils, and Democrats out there, and you know, there's always next season.
Excuse me, the devil. What are your plans for the Hell franchise going forward?
Excellent question. Obviously, this is a rebuilding year for us. We're gonna We're going to build back better. And we have some great up-and-coming prospects. We got Kamala Harris. You've heard her demonic cackle. Of course, it's one of the best in the game. It scares even me sometimes. Ooh. You know. Of course, we got all the progressive Christians out there. We got the guy from Green Day. We got Pink now, and of course the Republicans with the weak defensive game. So thanks, Mitch. You know, they let us remain dominant, killing babies for over 50 years. And let's not forget, we still have California and New York in the bag, putting up incredible numbers in the child sacrifice department.
Anything else you can tease for the fans out there?
Well, let's see. Well, while our abortion game will be down for a while, we've got some great stuff lined up. So we're going to be rolling out another Amy Schumer comedy special. That's good. We got an even flimsier paper straw debuting next year. And we're putting more extremely long, unskippable cutscenes in video games. You know, the ones with the sudden QT sequences where you gotta mash X or you instantly die. You have to watch the whole thing again. That's a classic. So, you know, don't count us out. Anyway, I gotta make an appearance at a family-friendly drag show in Texas. No more questions, okay? This press conference is over. And, oh, and Beelzebub, release the bees.
Wait, what?
Bees?
You know, so many people helped us through the years. Margaret Sanger, Alyssa Milano, shout out to my homegirl, Michelle Obama out there, thanks for the support. Let's see, Jen Hatmaker, Rachel Hollis, the absolute GOAT, Kermit Gosnell, pretty much every Hollywood actor, except for that guy who played Frasier, Joe Biden's handlers, all the Republican congressmen who've gotten their mistresses pregnant, and the ladies from my favorite television show of all time, The View. They do great work. Oh, and Steve.
Well, greetings, YouTube. Beep bop, beep bop. Our readings show that you must like, subscribe, ring the bell, and comment, or you shall be destroyed. Beep bop, boop, beep bop. Is this thing on? Speak to a person. Destroy Earth. No, speak to a person.
Dream, not of what you are, but of what you want to be.
Without a doubt, the defining story moment in Warframe's 10 years. Now, in December 2015, Digital Extremes released a quest that would change the direction of Warframe as we knew it. Up until that point, Warframe's lore was heavily fragmented in smaller quests and of course codex entries, but the second dream changed all of that. This video is sponsored by Digital Extremes, so a huge thank you to them for allowing me to make it, as part of their 10-year anniversary celebrations. Now, the second dream was a significant shift in direction for Warframe that started us off on a journey of discovery for Lotus, for Tenno, and now for Drifter as well. A journey that spanned quite a few updates, from the second dream to the War Within, the Sacrifice, the New War, Zariman, and now Duviri as well. A journey that we're still on to this day with Duviri, and a story that I don't think is quite finished yet, by no means. The man in the wall is still lurking and maybe trying to break into Duviri if the Lost Island Codex entries are anything to go by. So where it goes from here is anyone's guess. But let's take a little bit of a look back at some of the best moments and characters of Warframe's 10 years. So over the course of those 10 years, Warframe's universe and lore has expanded and given us some really unique moments and world building along with more detailed stories while giving us some incredible characters to add into them. Story-driven characters, but at the same time, Digits Extremes were not afraid to take inspiration from within their own community. Characters like John Prodman, a corpus unit that is basically too powerful to die. He's absolutely shredded. Then there is Clem, a Grenier defector that was created as a meme by a player called Data Reaper who recently sadly passed away. Clem, while starting out as a meme, is one of the mainstays in Warframe and its community, and has been for years, so he is rightly immortalised forever in Iron Wake. Now, prior to the second dream, some of these characters and lore were relegated, like I said, to Codex entries, but as a brief example, this is a corrupted ancient. It arrived in Warframe back in May 2013 with update 8, and its lore segment is honestly one of the best in the game. It revolves around two cloned twins bred for a purpose, healers, Lorist Ontella and their twin Rambala, but also their bodyguard Dax Menz. A city on Mars called New Uxmal is overrun by infested. Rambala, they originally think has died, but 2 days later Ontella can sense Rambala again through a kind of symbiotic link, something that they had not told anyone that they were able to do. So a rescue party is launched to save Rambala. However, when they land back on the city, Ontella can sense Rambala making progress towards them, but Rambala did actually die, and they are now being run down by a horde of infested that now has a corrupted ancient. So Rambala has changed into this corrupted ancient. And in trying to rescue Rambala, Ontella, Menz and the entire rescue party almost die at the hands of the infested. So while the second dream signified a shift in story direction and how they, I guess, presented their stories, there was already really great lore buried within Warframe. You just had to look for it. But then we were served stories like Rel, the Chains of Harrow, and his sacrifice as he held back the man in the wall for so long while being in agony until we finally freed him and set future events in motion.
But the man in the wall, who will...
They will have to. All of them. They owe you this. We all do.
Yeah, I feel...
Orden Karis and the Beast of Bones, Sylvanas and the Silver Grove, the infested plague that was nurtured by the Orokan civilization as a weapon by letting it run rampant on outer colonies, kind of turning them into giant greenhouses and causing genocides at the same time. Albrecht Entrati and his journey in and out of the void, a person who helped create the warp drives and a person who might be in every place all at once after his initial journey into the void where he encountered Wally. Mother mentions him being ripped apart. He also showed up in Deviri, or a version of him did at least. So we're not done with Albrecht just yet either, I don't think. He gazed into the void and his fear took shape. But the second dream did give us the alliance of Stalker and Hunhao.
I am Hunhao, sentient destroyer of worlds. By your hand, expose their heart. By my edge, cleave it beating from its nest.
And a feeling of a powerful evil entity, an enemy that really wanted us dead. He wanted revenge for the old war and, of course, the humiliation at the hands of Warframes. But we managed to save the Tenno Reservoir from Hunhao and the Stalker and push them back, which played on the emotions of so many Warframe players at the time when this scene took place in the middle of the quest, revealing exactly what we are as our Warframe picks us up and carries us to safety. Children, Tenno, who returned from a failed void jump to Tau on board the Zariman. But we returned with powers, children that had been hidden away then by Lotus, but back in the old war we were used as a way to control Warframes with transference. Warframes were originally tortured experiments, created as weapons by Ballas and of course by Margulis, volunteers, or more often not, between a human host and the infested disease. There is a lore segment for Rhino Prime which depicts a savage rhino running rampant through a ship, eating people before finally being put under control, and it paints Warframes in a completely different light. Savage, animalistic and infested in nature, but our Tenno could look inside these broken, ugly machines and take away their pain.
I know I will die, so I just watch with curious acceptance. The beast squats down, shoveling a heap of gore into its mouth. It is watching me with vague eyes, a sense of recognition, ancestral memory. It knows who I am and what I've done. It rears up like a bear and roars, shattering the lights and casting us into darkness. I can hear it lumbering toward me, its metal fingers rending the walls. But I know I am dead. I close my eyes and stand ready to pay.
Now, the War Within gave us Teshin and, of course, Grineer Queens whose bodies were decaying, and they wanted us, our Tenno, for continuity. The old Orokin celebration of taking over a younger person's body. Sounds horrific, where they would break the mind of a child and then transfer their consciousness into that newer, younger body, and in doing so, erase the very existence of that child.
My sister needs the orphan child, not its infested puppet.
The child? For what purpose?
To eat it, of course.
Hush, worm. Do not question your lords, Teshin Dax. Bring me the orphan. Bring me my Yuvan.
But the Grineer Queens wanted to do that to our Tenno, and in doing so, they failed. We gained control of the Kuva Scepter, and Teshin became our mentor of sorts. Even now in Deviri, he is giving our Drifter nuggets of wisdom as he tries to guide us. And the sacrifice gave us, of course, Umbra Excalibur, a Dax soldier modified with the infested strain to turn them into a Warframe. But more importantly, it gave us Ballas, the one responsible for imprisoning Orden Karas in his glass prison. He was also the lover of Margulis, aka Lotus, or at least the original Margulis, not the sentient Lotus that has now minded us for years. So all of these quests from the second dream right the way through to the new war led us on this journey for Tenno and of course Lotus, and the arrival of the man in the wall, which turned out to be an actual wall with a huge face and a kid sitting on top of it. But the new war also gave us moments with Ballas where he became an emperor and ruled over absolutely everything with the Narmer faction. It gave us Viso, a Corpus unit that fought back and went down with his ship in a blaze of glory. It also gave us Cal and his brothers. But now we're in Deviri, a world created through the emotions of our Drifter as a way to deal with the trauma of the Zariman event in their existence. But now we have a doorway between both into the void, into Deviri through the Zariman and our world as well. And what lies within is still relatively new to us. We know that events in our timeline have had repercussions on Deviri. 10 islands in Deviri that have been cast away by Dominus Thrax as the void encroaches on it, and at times what looks like the man in the wall trying to break in. There is moments where blood seeps up through the ground, which kind of signifies Kuva as we get the Kuva in our timeline. There is chain links which rain down from the skies and kills Garmy the Protector, which seems heavily connected in some way to the chains of Harrow and us freeing Rel from his pain. Albrecht and Trati arrives in Deviri to study the void in an observatory similar to the one he had in his world before then disappearing. And then there are other correlating events on some of the other islands as well. Now the journey after 10 years of evolution, like I said, is only just beginning, and where it leads next is going to be very, very interesting. So here's to another 10 years, Tenno. Let me know in the comment section below what your favourite story or moment is within Warframe over the last decade. Have a great day, and as always, thanks for watching.
Can good exist without evil? Can there be light without dark? And if that answer is no, then could it be possible that because this artifact exists, its polar opposite must also exist? To my surprise, the crystal itself had this very potential. And with the power of light, we turned this artifact into a source of purity, banishing the evil within. The crystal was reborn, and from it, a weapon was created. The weapon was given to me as a gift, and I wielded it with honor. In the name of the crusade, I was the Ashbringer. Great power often implies jealousy, hatred, even from those you love. And I was betrayed.
The captured citizen should be close. We must reach them before the scourge.
Stay back. I'll take care of this.
No, Father. Wait!
Make sure he is safe, Fairbanks. Thousand upon thousand they came, yet I held my ground, sword in hand. Yet, as the ash was all that was left, something came that I was not prepared for. Fairbanks, where are you? Fairbanks, answer me! What have you done, Reno? Why have you done such a thing? By my order.
It has been 8 months since the second movie was released. Now we shall tell the last tale. And again, we need your help. On Dunmall, the adventure continues. So make sure you tell your friends. finished and the recordings will start soon. You're all welcome to join. There will be no restrictions. Keep an eye on the websites. See you soon.
Okay, well guys, a lot of you really liked the steak video, so here we are doing another video. And I want to say that I apologize. I actually lied to you in the first video. I said I only knew how to make one meal. That's not true. I know how to actually make 2 or 3. I want to talk to you about the second meal today. As you can see with the title, probably. Today I'm going to teach you how to make something that's a lot more exotic, extravagant, and I hear from some people this is something that originated all the way over in Italy. Today I'm going to teach you how to make a pizza. Now, there's a lot that goes into this, a lot of time, and actually does take more time overall than making a steak. So
So nearby, Brad and Nisha, I believe you've got a drink for me to open before we start this video.
I do indeed.
Yes, Kingfisher. That's a beast of a bottle, isn't it? So I'm gonna open it with Action Man, roller skating Action Man. Let's open it with Action Man's roller skates. Let's go. Oh, these are crap. I don't want to wreck his roller skates, but it's like, you know, they were in fashion in the 90s, but not so much anymore. Come on, Action Man.
He's the greatest hero of them all.
He is, but oh god, the wheels on this thing are so soft.
That bottle's clearly been made by Dr. X.
Oh, there we go.
Yay, thank you.
Ting! And he's still got it. Hey! So, it will likely come. Ow. Oh, I was doing the intro. I walked backwards into.
6 years of recorded videos. I don't
Oh.
think you've ever done that.
No, I like wiping the back of my leg on the tape. But do you know what I mean? People. Whew. It will likely come as no surprise to regular viewers of this channel that we love Robocop here at FactFiend. And in fact, we love Robocop so much we've run out of things to talk about Robocop. So I'm forced to talk about the 2014 reboot. of Robocop.
I didn't know that's what we were talking about today.
Yeah, specifically how one of the most maligned aspects of the Robocop redesign was explained away in a deleted scene.
That's helpful then, isn't it?
This
Can I work on this? Can the microphone work? It looks like the scales are working. Yeah, on the OBS. Didn't really have a plan for chatting on this, but I was just messing about on it. See what I can do in OBS. As I say in the title, daytime TV. I'm watching videos on YouTube. I haven't watched this yet with Robocop. Why he had a hand. It's probably because of the weapon. In the, what is it? Authenticated. I think it's just an image of the channel. You have a look at it, what I've got on it, why I'm doing it. Most things are working. I don't even like thinking about it as a channel. Just something to do. I don't even know if it would be handy to have a green screen bit in the background. Anyhow, most of the time watching YouTube videos.
This is the hand, isn't it?
What's up right there?
It is.
Warframe 80 for things that are in between that don't work, like why the Xbox can't stream to YouTube directly without using a video card. You have to stream to Twitch. Things that they don't tell you, like they probably have a deal with Microsoft, a contract or something. These other creators don't talk about for years. Or watch sci-fi films, sci-fi stuff. Just general, normal conversation instead of trying to make it more than what it is. Nothing wrong with blowing it out of proportion. Try and make something of it. It's just not me. It's just not me. I think at the minute, for me, playing games with Warframe seems to have it all, most of the bases covered. If you want to play story, you want to play a different character, a different skin or whatever, or fight different characters, or have a bit of a challenge or something like that. Warframe seems to be it. And it's as free as it could possibly be. And this other stuff about it being a community, I don't believe in it. I don't think it's a community. It's just people play the game and use community as an excuse. Oh, part of a community? No. You're just playing the game. Make it feel like you're part of something. The next thing that comes along, like Diablo 4 tonight, there people just jump it instead. So there's never a community. It's just people playing games. The other one to do is I thought was good. It was rank 1. Global. I still keep saying about. It's going to get in here. I don't get what, me personally, I don't know what community it means. What if people don't have communities? They have things they're interested in. They're only 6 bit survey. To their own means, their own doings, without saying who's wrong. Exploitation. Like to me, that video of Warframe, the first one came out, is probably the best in history for gaming. And I think it was developed because they needed to keep the lights on and they were in a desperate spot. Not because they wanted to make the game. The game was the goal. So now it's just, I think everything that comes to gaming is blown way out of proportion now. Like people straight on, Diablo just came out, Diablo 4 just came out, and people had it completed within the day, 2 days, and still complained about it. is it? When was it released? Was it last week? It is. The game was announced and released June 5th. Today's the 14th. People had that game completed within a day or 2 days. Now I don't know if that was the pre-release or whatever you want to call it, the pre-order or whatever, but still, people had it completed, and they're like, well, for me, I didn't. There's 60% left. It was absolutely ridiculous that straight on the Twitch, people had it completed within 2 days, and still complained about it. Still turned around and said there's not enough to do. While in older games, like the one I was playing, I thought was good fun. I just completed it was released in 2010. Completed that. Thought it was a great game. The layout was perfect. The only thing that I could complain about if I had to complain about the game, was the accuracy of the gun play. You really had to focus on stability when you were upgrading the game, upgrading your weapons. But for the game, everything was. It felt like you had a lot of menus to work with. Things like this. You needed to change anything, or you were actually connected in some way. You had your armor, your weapons, your intel, you could upgrade them. Your character, the skin, the display, or whatever was great. You always felt like you were connected. While in Warframe, you get to change your Warframe, different abilities, different weapons, companions, there's it all there. Upgrading your equipment. And different places to go, syndicate, resources, like Alan. Nope, there we go. This is on disk. This is the difference. So now you have to have it all live service. Different characters to interact with. Different options for when you're talking to them. For likes and dislikes. Combat. The buttons were great. The controls. Another one. The options that you have. There you go. Threaten to the virus in the computer, or tell them so you're going to threaten them, or tell them about the past year it was if you answer fact. Just great, just an overall great game. For me, it was like Metal Gear Solid. My Warframe just from the start, when it first came out, didn't have anything to work off. The next game is going to be for me is let's see what it was really about. And I think they've just built on this. They've built on this best they can. There's the Zealot in it. There's the Saber Excalibur. There's the weapon that's in it from Nick we can get. Maybe by popular demand, I don't know. But it was originally he got a virus and it infected him. And he became this character with this blade, this weapon. And obviously then they developed in the Excalibur, but it's a pretty good story. And then you've got the Tanos, which aren't human, and they connect into the orphans. You have your spaceship playing, you have your movement, which is unprecedented, obviously, in games like that. Your different damage takes, your rewards, you can create your own weapons, skills, and leveling up, joining clans or guilds or whatever you want to call them. There's different skills for the Tano behind the Warframe, which enhances each Pokemon. Your void skills, different quests in games or story mode, and then more enhanced enemies and enhancing your character. Like, what more can they come out with? Like, it surprises me how much the game can keep developing. The latest was a very paradox. Whether they're working with the fans or they're doing their own thing, or Digital Extremes are doing a pretty good job. Even being bought over by a big company, Tencent. It just left them their own creativity. But it's working financially. It's working out for you.
Before that, let's just talk about
the old Robocop and Terminator and Predator, all the sci-fi stuff. Aliens. It just doesn't seem to be. Doesn't seem to be in that era. There's in the 80s, 90s, whatever. There hasn't been anything censored. It's just been worked on and worked on and worked on, built on, built on, built on. Nothing new has been brought out. It's Jurassic Park, so then they just, instead of Jurassic Park, they changed it to Jurassic World. That's the lamest, least amount of effort that I've ever heard in my life. If there was supposed to be a lazy way of making a film, let's just rename it and republish it. That's the laziest way to ever do anything. Like, and just because it's a big publisher or a big name on it, 20th Century or whatever, or one of the big publishing companies or the big film companies with a name on it, it doesn't mean anything anymore. You just rename it. Oh, you may as well just put it as a YouTube video. Why bother putting it in the cinema or being able to put it in Sky or whatever films or Netflix or whatever? Just
about Robocop, because I don't want to talk.
Absolutely, it makes it worthless.
I want to spend as much time not talking about the reboot as I can.
in Carl's head, there's like an awesomeness scale. We need to get it to the top so that when we talk about the shit one, it doesn't go too far down.
Well, that's the thing. I love Robocop. Like, you know, it's not just something we
Really?
talk about a lot on the channel. I love Robocop. I've got this. You know, I've got like the DVD. I think this is a Blu-ray. Actually, is it Blu-ray? Actually, no. This is the I think it's the DVD, but it has all the extras on it. So I rewatched like the film, the documentary. Also, yeah. Actually, I forgot. I should have this. One sec. Just and then directly above my bed is this. This is legit above my bed. So if anyone ever stays in my house, like
naked Robocop,
like any ladies who come visit me in my house, this is above my bed. Isn't that great? That's a really cool poster, isn't it? I don't know where I got it from, but I love it.
Are you also going to show off that Robocop tattoo that's on your ass?
Nope. But yeah, that's like, you know, I love
Just for
Robocop
us.
and the original film.
Just for
Well, it is legitimately one of my favourite films.
Bad language makes for bad feeling.
And I contend that Robocop's one of the best films ever made because it's a tight 90 minutes and you get everything you want from that title. You get a Robocop shooting people.
I don't mean to add with that.
For me, it's the same as Faxing says. Robocop. You can watch it over again. I don't know how many times for me you can watch it if you like sci-fi. Every time you get something from it. I think it's the same theme tune.
That's too much.
There's nothing new to say.
That's fair. If there's not much to say, I guess we can move on to the reboot. And the reboot was a perfectly serviceable action film, but it's just not good.
The worst thing about it is that they went for the 12 rating.
Yeah, so the one thing that like Robocop is known for, like besides like, you know, its biting social satire,
Big is back, because bigger is better. 6000 SUX, an American tradition.
and its really interesting visual flair, like as a direct result, we've been directed by Paul Verhoeven, who was just, you know, a really interesting filmmaker in his own right.
You bitches, very good. That's a wrap on the bitches. Thank you very much, bitches.
How you doing? Bitches leave.
Is that they, as you said, made it a PG-13, so they cut out the other thing Robocop's known for, which is the over-the-top, uber-hyper-violence, which is supposed to be the point of the film. It's like, oh, it's so frustrating. Like, you go from, like, you know, the Mr. Kinney getting shot to pieces in, like, OCP's officers.
You want to call a goddamn paramedic? Let's go, Johnson. You put a point on this thing.
To, like, people just falling down as they get hit by bullets. It's like, it's just not the same.
Especially seen as it was made in a more modern era when that kind of gore is probably more acceptable.
And we in horror movies, so, like, for example, I watched John Wick 4 recently, and John Wick kills a lot of people in that movie, but not many of them die as hard as just regular jobbers do in the Robocop movie.
Yeah, I think that kind of gore is often played for laughs in action films now, like in the Kingsman series.
But even then, like the Kingsman series, like how many people like actually get violently killed? Like how many people do you see squibs on, for example? Squibs like not even a thing in movies anymore. It's always like the digitally inserted ones, which look terrible for the most part.
I think I watched some of it.
Probably looks really tame compared to like if you watch The Boys, because that is so
That
graphic
one-
in every sense.
One similar to it. The Kingsman, what was it? The Secret Agent or something? I don't know what it's called. I think the man Harry was in it.
Oh no.
Well, that's what I mean, it is, yeah. And, you know, but that's, and the reason that The Boys stands out is because that's not really something you see in modern entertainment anymore, is it?
Especially the first episode of season 3.
I was about to say that. I love the creators of The Boys were like, oh, there's a joke going around about Ant-Man going up Thanos' ass. Let's just do it.
Yeah. And they did. And that's the thing, you don't see stuff like that in action movies anymore. You see it in horror movies, you see it in, like, you know, The Boys, but it's so seldom seen in action movies. And that's why I think, like, if you're going to remake Robocop, that's one of the things it's known for. And if you're not going to, like, you know, deliver on that, at least deliver on the other thing it was known for, which is, like, you know, a decent story and, like, you know, the social satire.
Iron Man. Iron Man.
Yeah, I've not seen the reboot. Is it basically the same story, or is it slightly different?
It's the exact same plot, however, instead of it being about the over-militarization of the police and corporations valuing profit over human lives, they decide, well, that doesn't really make sense in like 2014. For some reason, even though it's like never been more relevant, it's the thing that gets more relevant with every passing year. They decided to make the whole thing about drone warfare, which is fair enough. Like, you know, you want to reimagine the film for, like, you know, modern times. But then they handled it in such a, ironically, heavy-handed way with the use of a human hand. But before we get to that, we have to talk about the Robocop outfit itself, because I contend the original Robocop design is fucking incredible. Like, this is just like, you know, like a stylized version of it. There'll be a picture of, like, you know, the actual Robocop design behind me. But, like, Nisha, do you remember what, like, Alex Murphy looks like when he takes off the mask? Like, when you've been doing any editing or anything?
In the reboot one.
In the original. So I've got it on my screen.
Isn't he
here.
like just a face?
It is a face stretched over a human. So I can just turn around like my
so
monitor.
it's kind of creepy because like doesn't he realise he's not?
It's like you look at
human.
that. Like, look at the effects on that. So I've, like, you know, turned my monitor around now so you can have a look at what Robocop looks like in the original.
Yeah.
And I contend that is one of the best practical effects ever.
Yeah, that's really well done.
Not just in the 80s, not just in action, not just in, like, you know, films from that era, ever.
It's really good to see you again, Murphy.
Murphy had a wife and son. What happened to them?
Because you literally cannot see where man ends and robot begins, because they go to the effort of, like, putting the plastic fake rubber skin around it to make it like it's a face stretched over a you know, a robotic skull. They give him slightly inhuman proportions, so you can't quite tell where you'd fit an actor inside of there. And then they combine that with some, like, incredible sound design where every single step and movement of Robocop is accompanied by, like, this robotic whir and a heavy thud.
Is this shit?
Then you've got the performance of Peter Weller, who originally trained to do, like, mime work because he wanted to move really smoothly. So he thought, oh, a robot would move with inhumanly perfect precision. That didn't really work because he couldn't fit inside the costumes. What he did instead is he decided to, you know, make jerky, deliberate movements. So still, like, you know, the efficiency of the machine, but just like instead of like the robot dance, then you accompany that with, like, you know, the practical effects and, like, the sound design. It feels like there is a man trapped inside the machine. Now I'm just going to scroll down to the version we got in the 2014 reboot. But, you know, just keep that in mind there.
Yep.
Right, just tell me what you think when you see that.
Oh, no.
So what do you see?
That's so much worse than I remember it.
So what does that look like, Nisha?
It just looks like a guy wearing a balaclava.
Yeah, that's it. He looks like a guy wearing an Iron Man suit.
Yeah, it just looks like his face is underneath a helmet.
Yeah.
With like a sort of, yeah, like a balaclava around it. That's it. There's no machine, like, parts of it.
And that's what is so frustrating. Like, the design of Robocop isn't as good. Like, it was better 30 years ago. Like, you look at it and you can see, like, there'll be pictures behind me for the audience, and I'm like, it is criminal how bad it is. Because, like, you know, the one in the 80s, like, you see the skin stretched over things, like, how did they do? And obviously it's just they put rubber skin.
That's it. There's no machine, like, parts of it.
And that's what is so frustrating. Like, the design of Robocop isn't as good. Like, it was better 30 years ago. Like, you look at it and you can see, like, there'll be pictures behind me for the audience, and I'm like, it is criminal.
Right. So, to me, this is the classic people excuse where we don't have the technology now. We don't have the technology now to do that. Or the reality is we're just too fucking lazy to follow the fucking ours.
How bad it is. Because, like, you know, the one in the 80s, like, you see the skin stretched over things, like, how did they do? And obviously it's just they put rubber skin on his face, but it's like, yeah, it looks like they just got a dead guy's face and stretched it over a robot skull, which is what they do inside the film. In the 2014 one, you can just tell it's Joel Kinnaman wearing a plastic costume. And you can see, like, you can literally see the snood where they keep his head inside of it. It's so bad.
You think, you know, with reboots, you have so much more technology and more
Exactly.
It should be better.
Well, they even do the thing where they show him without the armor on, and that is a horrifying scene.
Yeah.
But it's
see,
bad
like,
CGI.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
you see his like head and his lungs and stuff.
I think I saw that, so I had to get that clip.
But then they do that.
That's like, and it completely takes you out of the film because it just looks like a guy wearing a suit, which it is, but it looks like that. Whereas, like, you know, when I said like the design of the original, yeah, it's a lot clunkier. It's not as sleek, but its clunkiness is actually kind of genius. Because as I mentioned, it has slightly inhuman proportion. Like the shoulders come up here. And it's like when you look at like Space Marine armor from Warhammer or Thanos Aran's armor, it's like the proportions are slightly inhuman, so you can't quite think how a human would get in there. Which sells them as like, you know, this otherworldly, like alien being, or in this case, like, you know, not quite human or not quite enough humanity in there.
If I remember correctly, doesn't he spend a lot of the film with his face out as well?
Yeah.
Wondering why it seems so slow on the screen. Just 15 frames a second. I can't see anything. That helps. Yes. Yes. This is I just updated this here yesterday. You have the want to plays, you have your plays, and you have what you're playing, and then it's your plays. Yeah, it shows you know. I think this is a really good app. And what I did put down for that Alpha Protocol is it says like Metal Gear Solid. At its time, it's 2010. After Metal Gear and all, it's definitely worth it. Yeah, well, I got started by figuring out the different characters and how the gameplay was going to play through. Then when I got stuck into the goal of completion of the game, I actually started enjoying the dialogues and the interactions and the possible likes and dislikes as I talked my way through the story, along with the information gathering, which is optional. For me, that is how I played it. Unfortunately, there's far more other options to choose for your own choices of interactions. Overall, I personally could even compare this to Metal Gear Solid. That is how I highly rank this game and for its error. The other games I've got is I've played Outriders. I didn't play the new one, the One Piece. It's World Leader or something. Actually, in Warframe, I pick up a lot of time, the same as Warcraft did, or the Warcraft did. Sci-fi films, or sci-fi games, some fantasy. There's my favourite games, as you can see. Soul didn't make it up here, compared to these. Soul is a good game, but this Legacy of Kain Blood Omen to Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver is a big jump. So that's probably why I didn't win. Zone of Enders, I've still got. Highly ranked. I don't think I've seen a game that's it. There's only Armored Core. There's probably, what do you call them, cartoons, if we've seen things. Voltron. And there's another one. What's the other mech? Japanese anime. Crisis. 100% I recommend it. Anybody who likes the shooters. Primal. It's an old one. Again, fantasy hard to get into. Assassin's Creed. I don't think it got complete in the first one, but Assassin's Creed did okay. Up until the 4th, you want to say? Assassin's Creed 1, 2, 3, and 4 are definitely worth the playthrough. Diablo, there it is again. Command & Conquer's, I like the Command & Conquer's. Still watch the guy Bike Rush. Again, links are over here on Twitch. As I said before, all these characters, Rax, big Diablo player, created Max Rule with everybody else here with Riker, Bloodshed, and some others as well. There's others with Woody and stuff now as well. I haven't got them here. There's Swifty from World of Warcraft. Backlash is the same Command & Conquer. If anybody makes Command & Conquer stuff. Shiv, who watches anybody with Apex Legends, I stopped because it just started becoming like Call of Duty, snipers and rocket launchers, and I also stopped playing any PvPs for that reason, because it's to do with the connection and what they pay for. And music, Pound of Flesh, great entertainer this guy, definitely, like, I can't give this guy enough credit. Pound of Flesh, go to his stream, check it out, it's awesome. Fish, I like it. You can try other games, play a lot of Warframe. Saints Row, he was playing, what other ones was he playing? I think he played a bit of GTA, I'm sure it's probably right on Red Dead Redemption. There's Neil. For me, Neil's on top of Warframe. A completionist. Has done, there isn't anything he hasn't done in the game. There's also Nightmare Frame. Between the two of them, Nightmare Frame does a lot of content. For Neil does a lot of content, but has covered different areas. They all sort of like cover their own area. If you're looking for to make platinum in game or in game honors, Neil's the guy. If you're looking for content, Nightmare Frame's the guy to go to. But Neil has a lot of content too, so Neil, the two of them, or they'll weigh them up. Music, and I haven't seen her on. I'm gonna have to probably take her off at some point. I haven't watched her recently. She's still on, probably still is. Screenshots, custom lists of what games you have and haven't got. I just skipped over my hardware. This is what I'm still using. The Mega phone broke just. That's it. Small profile, and then you connect the other two. The games that will be playing is a Dark Sector prototype. I haven't got playing. I know of them. Played them in the past. Just actually played the first one. Armored Core 3 I played. Armored Core 1 and 2. Rain, Vampire. Tried a bit of it. There's a bit on the stream. I don't. Or on this channel or whatever you want to look it up. Very hard to get into fantasy. I'll probably have another shot at it. Did push myself to it. Dark, don't know anything about. Piano 3, an old classic from GameCube. I've never completed it, so I like the suit thing. It's sort of like an action suit, so I really did a bit. Second site really good for psychosis stuff, kinetic powers and stuff. I have to do this here for others, for me, for Matrix stuff, because it's sci-fi. Tunnel Darkness I don't think I ever completed. It was really good. Dennis Dyack was the guy who created it for Legacy of Kain. And I still have it. It's worth quite a bit on eBay as well. Works the name. I don't know if we'll ever have a look at it, but we'll have a go at it, and then the Matrix. For stories. And profile, summary. Dennis Dyack, as I say, is doing Deadly Satana. And like Lord of the Rings, it's been on Dead Dark Lore stuff. And it's going to be like a fantasy version of Warframe, like vampires and stuff. And there's like a summary of the game this sort of thing. It's quite a bit of fantasy and a bit of adventure. Indies and nothing, so shooters and sci-fi. Again, this is Ghost in the Shell. If you've never played Ghost in the Shell, you probably don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
Like they never put the helmet over.
Yeah.
He does it when he goes into like action mode.
Yeah, and that's because they wanted Joel Kinnaman to be able to act and emote properly, even though he's playing a fucking robot! That's the thing as well, and I don't mind the twist they do in the film of, the original Robocop is Alex Murphy has all his emotions stripped away, and it's him slowly regaining his humanity. They turn it on its head in the new one, and it's he's human from the start, and then they slowly strip it away to make him more robotic. The problem is that, like I said, he had his face out the entire time. Joel Kinnaman's a shit actor, and the effects look terrible.
This is real. It's not a dream. It's not drugs or anesthetics.
I know I'm dreaming because I can feel all of this.
Alex, amputees can often feel their missing appendages. It's called phantom limb sensation.
What do you mean,
Dr. Norton did.
amputees? What the hell did you do to me? You need to relax. Take this off me now.
Well, I think I assume we're gonna get onto it when we talk about the hand. But I liked what they were going for.
Yeah.
When you read more about it, this idea that they wanted to have the audience.
The perfect thing he did there. Take all this off me, and then obviously he does take it all off and show you.
Question and the character's question: what is human and what is robotic about him?
Yeah.
Because in the film they want to make everyone think he's human, but they can control him like a robot.
Yeah, it's
and
an interesting concept.
Yeah. But then, like, I'm considering that you said it's a deleted scene. I'm guessing I've seen a deleted scene because they don't mention. Like, the idea of wanting him to look human to people.
Well, no, yeah. They do mention that in, like, the base film. But specifically, they never talk about the hand. So, Brad, would you like to talk about the hand?
So, all it remains of... Is he called Alex Murphy?
Alex Murphy.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, I think he's making a video, but it's because of the authentication to the weapon, I think.
All that remains of Alex Murphy in the reboot is, I think, the face, the lungs, part of his system, and one hand.
One hand is all that survives. And we even have the picture here, Nish, where you can see it. And you can just look at the picture, and while you look at that, like, I'll explain the meaning of the hand. So as I mentioned, it's a very, ironically, heavy-handed... No, Brad, you can stop laughing! The reason why Alex Murphy has a single hand left, as I mentioned, is ironically quite heavy-handed metaphor for drone warfare. So, when you see Alex Murphy pulling a trigger, he's pulling it with his human hand.
I shoot you with 50,000 volts, which may cause respiratory failure, organ malfunction, internal burns, and loss of bowel and bladder control. And then I arrest you.
And this isn't me reading too much into it, I like put my film school hat on. This is like, no, the director of the film said, yeah, it's a comment on drone warfare. Because, like, when a drone shoots somebody, there's a human pulling that trigger, and that's what we want to represent with the design of Robocop, with his human hand. I get it, I just don't like it, because you can look at that photo, can't you, and think, it makes it look even more like just a guy wearing a suit.
Costume.
Yeah, it makes it look even worse, because it looks like he's not put the entire costume on.
Just like his head's missing a glove.
Yeah.
Don't they give the reason in the film as to they want him to be able to shake hands?
That's the deleted scene, yes.
Right,
So,
that's the part I'm thinking of.
So, like, the explanation, like, in the film, they never explain why they have the hand left over. It's just that he has the hand left over. And the reason why that pisses me off as a fan of Robocop so much is that, in the original Robocop, they also save Alex Murphy's hand. And they have a moment where they're talking about, like, you know, what they've got left of Alex Murphy on, like, the autopsy table. Of like, well, most of the body's destroyed, but we can save the right arm. And, like, Bob Morton walks in and goes, why? Fuck it, get rid of it. And, like, really? And goes, total body prosthesis.
Story.
We were able to save the left arm.
What? I thought we agreed on total body prosthesis. Now lose the arm, okay?
Jesus, Morton.
Lose the arm.
Shut him down. Prep him for surgery.
And the obvious subtext there is, why would we let Robocop have...
It wasn't to do with implication of the weapon, right? It was, obviously he said it was to do with... they had the hand left over, and to do with the drone warfare.
A weak point that can be exploited. If we give him a human hand, that's like, you know, going to get shot at. Why not just replace it with a bulletproof one that can't be destroyed?
I think as well, clarify before anyone says, the original Robocop's face is still metal.
Yes.
It's metal with skin stretched over it.
Yes.
But it was something to do with it when if he looked in the mirror, then he would.
And for anyone wondering, like, well, his face is a weak point, right? It's like, no, his face is bulletproof as well. It's not even his original face. They say in Robocop 2 that they made it. They made it as a tribute to Alex Murphy and then stretched it over the robot's skull.
They made this to honor him. Your husband is dead.
As you mentioned, Brad, so that when he looks in a mirror, he sees a human's face staring back at him because they realise that the human mind would completely break if it looks back and doesn't recognise itself. So they create an artificial rubber robot face, put it over the robotic skull, and then put that on the thing, they cover it with a mask.
But no, human hand.
Yeah, but yeah, human hand.
Couldn't they do that with the hand then? Couldn't they have a robotic hand and just
Well, imagine
skin
if that
over
was
it?
the reveal. If at some point his hand got shot and he looked and realised it wasn't even his hand.
Yeah.
That could have worked.
He could have done, yeah, but instead it's just his hand. Just a real human hand. Yeah. And that's the thing, and it's because it contrasts so wildly with the original, where they literally have a character say, basically to camera, like the guy is looking into Robocop's eyes, who's like the audience. Like, and it makes it even worse, like in the original, you have a character say, basically to camera, she's seeing through Robocop's eyes, the guy looks at him and goes, total body prosthesis, get rid of it all. Why would we keep the human parts are the things to try to get rid of? The human police officers are the ones who keep going on fucking strike and getting shot. The robot one's dumb.
It could have worked.
He does put them up against the robotic ones in test, which I personally like the robotic ones, the fully robotic cops or drones or whatever you want to call them. I enjoy them more, sort of like Terminators or like the fully robotic. What they're doing with Robocop obviously is he's cybernetic, he's connected. Obviously there's a big difference there. And it's like when he aims or locks on the target, it's the computer system that's locking on the target. While in the drone type of robots, it's the same thing, but not coordinated, or the decisions aren't made through a processor, they're made through a human brain.
It
could have worked.
This idea of him having one robot hand and one human hand to show off the fact that it's the whole thing's a battle between the man and machine.
Mm-hmm.
But
and that's the thing, they never explain it in the film. In a deleted scene, they have Michael Keaton, who's like Michael Keaton's a great actor. He's no fucking Dick Jones. he's no Dick Jones, and he explains that when they're talking to him, like, oh, we can save the right hand. It's like, why don't we replace? No. My dad always told me you can tell a lot about a man from his handshake. Keep the right hand.
Hey, can you save his right hand? My father always said you can tell a lot about a man by his handshake.
I can try.
All right. See if you can sell it to the family.
And the reason it annoys that they cut that is, one, that explains this stupid fucking design decision, and two, that's kind of genius if you think about it, because like, we're going to give this, like, you know, walking war crime the ability to, like, you know, have the facsimile of, like, human interaction. And it's like, we're going to give it the most superficial, like, you know, human interactive capabilities possible to put people at ease, as we just, like, you know, put a robot on the streets that has, like, you know, cameras that can tell when you've committed crimes, and is like, you know, empowered to just abuse everyone's rights.
Yeah, because if you put a robot out there, that, obviously the
confused. It was the right hand in that scene, in this scene. Where he's pointing the taser at the gun at.
And it's like we're going to give it the most superficial, like, you know, human interactive capabilities possible.
But it was the left hand, it looked like the left hand when we took them apart. Yeah. I'll go back to it. What's that, 10 minutes? Yeah.
To put people at ease, as we just, like, you know, put a robot on the streets that has, like, you know, cameras that can tell when you've committed crimes, and is, like, you know, empowered to just abuse everyone's rights.
Yeah, because if you put a robot out there, that obviously the
the right hand, because the angle of what I'm looking at is the mirror. I'm looking at the mirror instead of the Robocop facing the mirror.
government control.
Confusing me, thinking it's the left hand, it's the right hand.
Then everyone's going to be like, well, the government controls that.
Yeah.
But if you've got a man out there, then that's a man, that's a hero.
Yeah, but just that thing as well of like, oh yeah, you can shake your hand. It's like, oh, that puts me at ease. It's like the rest of him is bulletproof, and he pulls the gun out and starts shooting people without due process.
Like, yeah, I'm pretty chill.
Yeah,
pretty chill, like going on in the background.
That could have been genius, but instead they cut it out for no reason. Because it's like 30 seconds long and it explains so much.
I didn't realise that none of that was mentioned. So did they just cut from him being like shot to just being one-handed?
On the table, yeah. And they put him in the thing, like...
I thought this scene was in the film. That's so shit.
It is so shit, yeah, it's so bad. And it explains everything.
Why, like your point, why would you keep the hand?
Exactly.
The hand is terrible.
Not to mention as well, the rest of his body's bulletproof, and they show bullets bouncing off him, which would bounce into his hand and just cause more damage, so you have to replace it anyway.
Does he like, because obviously the mask comes down?
No.
I can't remember, does someone cover that? No, it never goes down.
So it always looks
So
like...
it's always out?
Yeah, all the time. No, that's the thing, and I remember when they revealed this design, people thought he wasn't wearing the costume, or he was going to be like, oh, they must be doing something with CGI. Do you know when you see like wearing like, for like Mad Max, you know, Charlize Theron wearing like the green arm thing, and people were like, what's going on here? And they replaced, obviously she plays a character with one arm. People thought it was that, like maybe he's got like, you know, a robot arm or a gun arm. It's like, no, they just fucked it up and left it in. So it literally looks like he's walking around without his costume finished. And I hate it. I hate it so much. So we talked about, like, so before we get into like, the end discussions we often do, I'd like to mention to the audience at home that, you know, this merch that I'm wearing right here, you can get some of that. You can pre-order it from the merch store. Link below. It's up for pre-order for the next couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks, I don't know. I don't know when this is going out, but you can pre-order it or order
what's
other
the
things.
date at the end it stops?
I don't know, I've not talked to them.
That would be better, just give them a date.
Let's just say you've got a couple of weeks from the day this video is released, maybe. If you like the look of this shirt, you can go pre-order it, it's pretty cool. You'll be supporting my channel, we'd appreciate it.
If this video ends up getting released late, fuck you.
If this video ends up getting copyright struck, because every time I put Robocop clips in, it gets copyright struck, I'm sorry. I'm going to try and put as many clips in as I can, so I apologise if I had to like put clips in reversed or with like weird distorted audio. It's the only way I could get it out.
Distort the face. Distort the hand. Distort the hand.
Blur it. Blur the entire thing. Well, yeah, like no, with that out of the way.
I don't know enough about all that. There, what he's talking about, what all that means. I got a strike one time for on Twitch. What was it for? Well, it was on YouTube. I got on here. I got the strike for playing a trailer of Max, an old sci-fi film. It's a robot that comes from space, like sort of like Blue Beetle or Guyver, and it connects to him, and then he becomes a superhero, Max.
Guys, you got any deleted scenes from movies that you like quite like? There's a couple of really famous ones that change or otherwise improve, quote unquote. Films like one of the most famous ones is Independence Day. Do you like the plot hole of, wait a minute, how does Jeff Goldblum hack an alien computer with a MacBook? What's going on here? There's a deleted scene where it shows him tinkering with his MacBook and you know, the alien ship they have in like Area 51, and it shows him going, oh, there's some compatibility here.
be honest, we don't know what the hell this crap is.
These patterns that are repeating sequentially, just like their countdown signal. They're using that frequency for computer communications.
Huh?
See? That's how they're coordinating their ships.
Huh. You know, you're really starting to make us look bad.
Still kind of bullshit, but at least it's not coming out of nowhere. Where it's like, oh yeah, I suddenly figured out how to like download a virus, and it even gets like the OS to like do a little skull. It at least shows him that he was tinkering with it, and that's how he figured it out.
It's not a film, and it's going back to The Boys again because it's what I've been watching recently.
Okay.
There was one, you know, when the first release Soldier Boy,
yes,
and they go and get some food, like they're in that like motel, and they go to get some food. There's a deleted scene where they come like Butcher and Huey come back, and Soldier Boy is just making out with the 60-year-old like maintenance woman, and then he just slaps her on the arse.
Oh yeah.
Duty calls. You have a wonderful day, darling. Come back for turn down.
All stuff like that. There's so much stuff left on the cutting room floors. Like, you know, most of it is cut for a good reason. Then every now and again, you know, stuff like the Independence Day one and that boys one, which just it adds to the characterization of the guy.
Yeah, so obviously he's been locked away for so long.
There's the Infinity War one with Hulk, where they explain where Professor Hulk came from.
Oh yeah.
And they just decided, oh, we won't put that in, and then we won't explain it in any other way than we just reached an agreement, or whatever it was in the final one.
It's like the Infinity War and Endgame are weird ones because a lot of scenes are like, oh, why do they cut this? And there's other ones where it brings the tone completely down, like where Tony Stark sees like.
I wasn't too happy about the Hulk not being in the Infinity War. I read all the details and looked up the questions of why, and their excuse was Hulk was afraid to go in because after getting beat by Thanos. Well, I'll counter that with if Hulk was afraid, then why didn't Claw come out? If you knew anything about Hulk, you'll know Claw. It's just Hulk spelled backwards. And he becomes evil Hulk, basically. The best version. So, he would have just popped out and kicked Thanos to slam Thanos to pieces. But sure, no, they wouldn't do that. They would just say, they stuck to the whole Hulk narrative that he wasn't really free and all this here. And in the end, he comes out anyway. It's like, you would never have got the whole film created if Hulk could have just bashed Thanos into the ground and just literally beat him to a pulp at the very start. So they just kept Hulk out of it. Hulk doesn't work for Avengers. Avengers work for Hulk. That's just how it works. And anybody who doesn't agree with me or doesn't like Hulk or thinks that Hulk's not as strong as they make out to be, well, his superpower is to just keep getting angrier and keep getting stronger, and he has more or less instant healing ability or rejuvenation. So it doesn't matter what happens to him. He's just going to rebuild himself back up and bash the crap out of Thanos. No matter how strong Thanos is. And he's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until Thanos is squashed under his toe. So it doesn't matter how strong Thanos is or what powers he has or whatever it is. Hulk's just going to beat him. You don't fight Hulk. You just don't fight Hulk. And when he does beat him, like he did to Earth, he just get Claw. He come out, oh, Hulk sad, depressed, become Claw, and beat the crap out of him even more.
His daughter in the future, in like the weird like Between Worlds one which they cut, and then there's like the 3-minute long scene of everyone just going
slowly kneeling
for Tony, even though it's immediately followed by his funeral, which is way more like, you know, poignant and gets to the point a bit better.
Hashtag kneel for Tony.
Just hashtag Dick Stafford.
That's another one. Miss Marvel, or Captain Marvel, or whatever you want to call her, can beat Thanos, but Hulk can't.
Sony's what he's won. Oh, but yeah, there's like, and then I think the one everyone's gonna be screaming about in the comments is the I Am Legend one, Where
oh, the alternate ending.
The alternate ending.
The better ending.
You mean the ending from the book, yeah. And the ending that references the title of the film. I'm not even going to explain it, go look it up, it's just way better.
I Am Legend.
While we're talking about deleted scenes, so Nisha and I did a Wicker Man video, whenever this was, a few weeks back, yeah. To watch that. But I didn't realise, in the Nick Cage Wicker Man, the leg-breaking scene and the bees scene weren't in the theatrical cut.
Are they not?
They're
so the bit like, not the bees!
Yes.
That's from like...
Yeah, theatrical cut, yeah, that's what it was. That was cut scene to My Am Legend. The ending wasn't that one, that was the director's cut, or the theatrical cut scene that you have to go and find. That he took Will Smith took his girlfriend and was testing on her.
Like, the theatrical cut, they wanted to make it a 12 or a PG-13.
It's a horror movie!
So they got rid of those scenes, and what happens, it's the funniest thing ever, right? What happens is, the crowd move in on him. And when the crowd move in on him, it fades to the bit where they're walking towards the Wicker Man. And in the background, you just hear his voice going, "My legs! My legs!"
No, not the bees! Not the bees! Ah! Oh, my eyes! My eyes!
No! See, we're getting away with this and stuff like
that. Kill me one, bring back your goddamn honey!
That's the point, like the client. That'd be like if you remade Misery and just cut like the hobbling scene. Can you imagine that? Or that'd be like remaking Robocop and cutting out all the
But the theatrical cut as well has a scene after the Wicker Man burning. Because the extended cut doesn't have this scene.
Wicker Man 2.
But it sets up Wicker Man 2.
No!
There's a scene.
Oh, wait, is it just another Wicker Man?
No, there's two of the girls from the island are in a bar somewhere in the US. And two guys, one of which is James Franco, ends up walking
James
up to
Franco hitting on a girl in a bar. Who doesn't want it? That doesn't sound realistic.
But he sits down with these women and they basically start like seducing them. And the implication is that they're going to try and get James Franco for the sequel for Wicker Man 2 to come back to the island.
Well, let's go Burning Man. Set a Wicker Man sequel at Burning Man, it'd be awesome.
Well, there is a sequel to well, it's not a sequel, it's
a remake.
The Wicker Tree. It's not a remake either. It's meant to be like adjacent. It's got Christopher Lee in it. It's a real thing. It's not. It's meant to be adjacent to the Wicker Man, but it's not. It's like the same themes, but a different.
It just happened at the same time. It's like, no, there was another one up next island over. It's like, I will never forget when someone was telling me there's like a sequel to Snowpiercer. Do you know the original graphic novel it's based on?
Right.
And do you know what the sequel to Snowpiercer is?
Snowpiercer 2.
Yeah. Another train turns up. Just the entire time there was another train and no one knew. And then it ends with like, the train ends up just leaving the tracks and it's like, oh, they could just do that the entire time. It ends with like there's about 3 different trains called Snowpiercer travelling across the world chasing each other.
Have you heard the song by Tom Cardy about Jurassic Park?
No.
Where every single one is, we go to the island, we say, oh, these creatures are beautiful, majestic, run, never go back to Dinosaur Island. Jurassic Park 2, go to Dinosaur Island. They're so beautiful, run. And it goes to like this, like 20th
just keep
one.
making the same mistakes.
Yeah.
So just the idea of these are sequels that you never thought got made. Like it's probably like a deeper pull than we should probably do for content for a wider audience. But fuck it, I like the game. It's Final Fantasy X, which ends with your main character, who, spoilers, is a ghost. The classic is a big ghost, right? And then Final Fantasy X2 is where you're going all through the game and he comes back. And then Final Fantasy X3, which hasn't been made, but is set up by the audio novel sequel to X2, where it turns out the main character who was a ghost comes back, and then the first thing he does, he sees a ball on the floor and he tries to kick it, and it turns out to be a bomb and he blows up, and he's a ghost again. And it's just like, why? And I got so annoyed because I got so invested in that series, and I was listening to it, and it's like he kicked a ball and died. I'm like, fuck's sake! What? I put like 500 hours into this game and didn't know there was a sequel. To a sequel, which sets up a sequel hook of the big bad from the first game comes back and he's a ghost again. It's like, fuck's sake!
Twitch channel? No, it's nothing. Is it? Where's the Twitch channel?
The Hilden are merely an inconvenient consequence. They will be dealt with in time. It is a small price to pay for Kane's death.
You're a bit premature.
Kane!
Is there a crack in your omniscience after all, Mobius? First, your omniscience, and now your powers. You're slipping badly.
This is not possible.
The part of me that staff affected is no longer in its place. But you already knew that, didn't you? I always was considered heartless. And now, Mobius, it is time.
To kill me? Again? Your only solution for every problem. Kill.
This is not a debate. You see, this time, you have nothing that I want.
You think this will matter? I serve one who has power over life and death.
Then go to him.
I am his obedient, his devoted servant. Soon, all pain will fade, and my master will bring me life once more. Master, my apologies. A momentary oversight. Somehow Kane still lives, and has unexpectedly dispatched me. Make use of your good servant, and go to your master then. I release you to the wheel. Oh, God, no. Do you see it now? The monster that you served. Is this what you imagined when you worshipped it? No! And in that knowledge, go and feed it. I release you.
Your petty actions are irrelevant, Raziel. Mobius was a good servant, but he was of no further use. His long life had run its course. You see, even when you rebel, you are doing my will.
Perhaps. But something has changed, hasn't it? You didn't foresee Kane's return.
You have both traced your paths along the wheel. This is where the journey ends.
You haven't the means to kill either one of us.
Ah, but you can be stopped. And you will come to understand how oblivion can be a mercy. You and Kane will spend eternity buried here together, praying for the merciful release of a death that will never come.
But I was armed with newfound knowledge, and it burned within me. Redeemer and Destroyer. Mobius had never seen his master until the Soul Reaver purified his sight. Even the ancient vampires had no idea what it was they so righteously worshipped.
You must unite what has been set asunder.
All the conflict and strife throughout history, all the fear and hatred, served but one purpose: to keep my master's wheel turning. All souls were prisoners, trapped in the pointless round of existence, leading distracted, blunted lives until death returned them, always in ignorance, to the wheel.
The coin is still turning.
But what hope had there been? One cannot fight the unseen.
Only then will the silent balance be armed for his true endeavor.
Despair, Raziel. There is no escape.
It was then I knew what I had to do. I alone could end this.
Cain. Do you so enjoy death? Yes. Raziel. No!
Yes. This is how...
No! Raziel!
The Soul Reaver, pure of all corruption. This is what it is for. This is what I am for. The two become one. Both Soul Reavers together. And the Scion of Balance is healed. And I am not your enemy, not your destroyer. I am, as before, your right hand, your sword.
No, Raziel, this can't be the way.
And now you will see the true enemy.
Raziel. And it was then I saw.
So, I am revealed to you at last.
What in hell?
I am the origin of life, the devourer of death. I am the hub of the wheel, the purifying cycle to which all souls must be drawn.
Had I condemned Raziel to this nightmare when I cast him into the abyss?
You may ponder the futility of your ambitions as you spend a deathless eternity beneath a mountain of rubble. You and your Soul Reaver will go equally mad as the eons pass. The Citadel of the Apostates will become your living tomb.
Your words are heartening. For you would not fear us unless we could truly do you harm.
No! You are nothing!
False God! This is the end. The final turn of your wheel.